Hello, and welcome to another episode of Make It Happen Today. So, a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how to create an online profile and what we should be looking at with regards to our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter, our LinkedIn, and the reasons why, we need to get that on kind of a lockdown and make sure the stuff that we're putting out there is what our employers are going to be proud of, what our parents, what our friends, we put stuff out there all the time. It's just how to present yourself, particularly if you're looking to launch your own business or if you're looking to get a new job. So I wanted to expand on that a little bit more this week and talk about how to look for a new job and also to how to prepare for any upcoming interviews. So I wanted to dive a little bit more into that for those of you that are looking for a new job or looking to make a change. And yeah, really, that's what this episode is about. So firstly, I want you to think about where you are currently and what is it that you want to change. So are you somebody that is just looking for a new job? Any kind of job, you'll do anything, you'll turn your hand to anything. And really at this stage in your life, you just don't care. You just want to make money. You want something that fits around the kids, or you want something because perhaps you've got an illness or something like that, and you've got lots of appointments to go to. So you need something that just has that flexibility. And that's great. There's so many opportunities out there for you. Marketplace, it's not marketplace, but Facebook has lots and lots of groups and opportunities locally. There's lots of people that put work from home, or they see stuff in the local supermarket and they'll post it online. So there's lots of opportunities actually through social media that you can find if that's what you're looking for. So if you're looking for more of a career, either to build a new career or expand on the career that you're already building, so you want to work in something very specific, there's a few tips that I have when you're coming to that side of employment. So I would firstly start suggesting that you hone in on what it is that you want to do. So do you have either a specific career role in mind, or do you have a specific industry in mind? So I've worked in lots of different industries doing very similar things. So I've done historically a lot of admin-based roles, secretaries, PAs, office managers, you name it, those kinds of things I did. But the actual companies were very, very different. So worked for all different kinds of people. There wasn't any kind of logic in terms of who I would work for. So it just had to be somebody where I felt comfortable. So I would go for the interview and feel comfortable there. Not saying that's right or wrong. I knew what I wanted to do as a job role, and I found a company that would suit me. So that's something that you need to consider. Is it a specific industry that you're looking to be in, or is it the specific role? So I would suggest that you look at somewhere like LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has a huge job resource there. I know other companies like Indeed, for example, also have a vast place that you can go for jobs. That's just as good. I've had a lot of success through LinkedIn, and for many reasons. So one thing to consider when you're doing that is if you decide, for example, that you want to be an office manager, so you can go look at LinkedIn or Indeed or Total Jobs, Jobs in Kent, wherever you happen to be. So there's lots and lots of online places you can go. So when you're looking at those, try and pinpoint, what industry do I want to work in? Do you even care? Do you want to work in an industry? For example, you want to do admin stuff, but you want to be in fashion. So you want to start pinpointing companies that are of the same value, not the values, but the same interests as what you're interested in. There's no point thinking I'm all about fashion or hospitality, something like that, and then going to work in McDonald's or going to work in Sainsbury's in the head office. It's just, you're going to leave, right? It's just not interesting to you at all. So you need to, if you're looking for a new job, let's make it count. Make your time count. Make your research on where you want to work count, because otherwise you're going to jump around. And that's one, not good for you, and two, not great for your CV. If you've got a new job every 12 months, employers start to look at that and question, why is she not able or he not able to keep a job for longer than 12 months? And the likelihood is it probably wasn't the right company for you. So that's my initial thing, is looking to pinpoint what industry is interesting to you, and then see what's out there. So you know that you want to be an office manager, for example, and you want to work in fashion. So start having a look at the fashion companies and seeing what's out there. Then what I would do next is to have a look at the actual job description, because not every company is going to do the same thing. They're not going to all want the same qualities. So you want to make sure that your skills and what you can do aligns with what they're looking for. Because if they don't, you've got no hope. There's going to be 500, 1,000, 2,000 people applying for the job. So make sure that, one, you like the company, it's where you can see yourself, and two, that the job spec is what aligns with your skill set. That's definitely, I've had people come and apply for jobs with me, and there's nothing on their CV that I can even remotely tie into what I'm looking for, and they're discounted straight away. And that's not me being malicious or picky. It's just, when I've got 500 candidates applying for the same job, I have to weed out anybody that doesn't stand out, anybody that doesn't have any skills that I've asked for in the job specification that I've put out there. So make sure that your skill set aligns with what they are looking for. If it seems like the right company that you want to work at, your CV matches what they're looking for job spec wise, then think about how you're going to apply. So think about how to make yourself stand out from the crowd, because there is going to be a lot of applicants for every job. It's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately, right now, particularly with COVID. There's even more people applying for the jobs than there were before. A lot of people got made redundant. So there's a lot of people that will go that's overqualified for positions purely because they're trying to find something. So think about how you're going to apply for the job. So are you going to go through these online job agencies or job networks like the Indeeds and the Total Jobs, those kinds of sites? Or are you going to send them an email? Are you going to give them a call? Are you going to go through their website? So there's lots of ways that you can actually even apply for a job, even if you don't see it directly. So think about showing initiative. Maybe there's a way that you see, say it's ASOS, for example, you want to work at ASOS, you want to do admin. You see the job advertised on Indeed and you think, Jesus, there's going to be 3,000 people that's going to apply for this job. I'm going to go to the ASOS website, I'm going to go to the careers section, and I'm going to apply through that. Make sure when you apply, you put a covering letter. That immediately stands out to other people that just send a CV in. The covering letter is like a window to your CV, right? It's like opening the door. It's a very, very quick snapshot of who you are and what you have to offer. So pick out a couple of very high level points they're looking for in their job spec and try and marry that up with what you're applying for and what you're saying in that covering letter. I'd like to apply for this role. I noticed you're looking for someone who has X, Y, and Z skills. I believe that I have those skill sets. I suit the company based on all of my interests, all of my skills, all of think of anything that basically stands out. Think of personality. I have a young, vibrant, lively personality. I think I would suit the ethos of ASOS. I would really love to be considered for the role that you're advertising as as admin manager, sorry. So make sure you do something like that, and consider looking through LinkedIn as well. So perhaps go find ASOS on LinkedIn, find the HR manager, do a connection. I'd like to connect with you. Now, I say to do that, and in one of my previous episodes, I talked about how to improve LinkedIn. Only go that route if your LinkedIn looks great. So your LinkedIn should also be a reflection of your CV. It's an online CV of you. Think of LinkedIn as an online CV. So make sure you nail that. Make sure that all of your work history is in there. And I don't mean just put, I worked at Boohoo, I worked at Next. Put what you did at Boohoo, but what you did at Next. Make sure you put a little bit, you have to put some info into what you did at each of those companies. Telling me you worked in Boohoo tells me nothing that you just enjoyed working in fashion. You could have worked in the warehouse packing the boxes on the van. That doesn't tell me that you did anything on the admin role. So make sure that you add detail onto your LinkedIn. Make sure you add detail or a photo so that people can see who's applying for the role. I've had CVs come in that actually do have photos on CVs. Now, there's mixed views about that. Some people love that. Some people think that it's poncy. Personally, I'm on the fence. I quite like it because I get to see the face of the person applying, but that's not for everyone. So I would say that's down to personal discretion, and perhaps something that isn't really done in the UK. So maybe that could be your standing out point. So something to think about. So yeah, if you're going to go in and search for the HR director or the HR manager through LinkedIn, it's a great way of doing that. 2 points, make sure your LinkedIn looks great. And second point, when you are making a connection for something like this, it's really important to add a note. So LinkedIn will give you the opportunity to say, would you like to personalize or add a note? Make sure you do. Follow up and say, hi, Stacey, would love to connect with you. I saw that you've got some job vacancies. I've sent you my CV via email. Would just love to connect so that you can see my online profile, as an example. So just make sure you personalize it, because they probably got 1,000 connections, and if you're not writing a note, it's likely that they'll just ignore that connection on LinkedIn. So think carefully about that. And then the next point to make is if you then get offered a interview, which is the goal, right? Everybody wants to have the interview, wants to go meet the company and try and nail that job. So it's important to do some research prior to the interview. And I know that sounds super simple. Yeah, of course, we're going to know a bit about the company before we go. We're going to know a bit about the job role. But again, they're probably interviewing 15, 20 people for the role. So make sure you're doing your research. Have a look and see a little bit about what they've got going on. Have they been in the press lately for anything great? Have they done something innovative? Have they done something for a charity? Say they've made a charitable donation, or they've gone and saved 100 sea turtles. I mean, just look at what they've got going on. You can always keep that in the back of your mind. So when you're in the interview and they ask you, what do you like about our company? Do you know what I really saw in the press recently that I love is you did this. And it resonates with me because I love nature, for example, or I'm big on charity, or I just thought it was really innovative. Oh, Jesus, can't say that word. And just something for you to talk about. It shows that you're aware of the company. It shows you're aware of what they're doing. And employers really, really like that. So think about, doing that, having a look at what they have going on. Also, something else is make sure, super simple, super obvious. Make sure you've gone through the job spec that they've advertised. Make sure if there's anything that either you're not sure about, you can ask while you're in the interview. So if there's something, a point that you don't really know what that is, ask about it. Or do your research. If they're using words in there or descriptions in there you don't know, research it before you go. And let me tell you, I have now built a 15-year career based on Google research. I had no clue what the job role was. I had no clue about the industry. And I Googled the hell out of it and managed to get a job that changed my life. So make sure you know exactly what they're looking for, because you can guarantee in that interview, they're going to ask you if they think you have the right skills. They're going to ask you, is there anything that you think that you can't do? They're going to ask you questions that make you uncomfortable. So you could come back and say, there was a part in the job description that, I have to be honest, I've never worked in a type of technology, for example. Maybe they use a software, a sales software that you've never used before, or maybe they're in accounting and they're using a different type of software that you haven't used before. Spin that to your advantage. Say, do you know what? I believe that I would be a great fit for the company. I'd be a great fit for the role. However, I haven't used that software before, but I look at that as a challenge. I learned other software in the past, and now that's no different. I'm a very fast learner. I would do anything I need to get up to speed quickly on that software. So that's not a concern that needs to be taken into consideration. I would just be very slightly slower than if I already came with that experience, but I don't see that as a hindrance. So put a spin on it, make it into a positive, show initiative, show that you're a fast learner, show that you're willing to do what it takes to get the job done. Tell them you'll go on a course. If you want to send me on a course, I'd be more than happy to do so. Otherwise, I will learn as fast as I can, like I did when I first learned Sage or Xero, if you're in accounting or something like that. So just put a positive spin on that. And the other thing that they're going to ask you that you need to think about is a negative. So a weakness, something you're not great at, something you don't enjoy, something you struggle with. It's one of the hardest interview questions, because you don't want to go into a job and talk about a weakness. You don't want to put yourself out there and be vulnerable, but they're going to ask you. They're going to ask you, what do you dislike about any role? What did you dislike about your last company? What is a weakness of yours? But again, you can use that as an opportunity. If you've thought about this ahead of the game, and nearly every job that I've gone for, they've asked a variation of this question. But again, you can put a spin on it. So you could say, for example, that you're quite outgoing. So you're quite bubbly and outgoing. So some people might see that as a weakness, for example, because the role that you're going in is in a really quiet accounting office and the staff in there are a little bit older. So that could be a weakness or a negative, for example. If that's, you kind of have to judge where you're going. So if you're going into an accounting firm and you've done your research and everybody's in there over 50 and you're 25, then that could be seen as a weakness, this bubbly, outgoing personality. It could be something that doesn't gel well with them. But how about you take that as a positive? You could say, I'm aware the company is looking for somebody that maybe is a bit on the quiet side. I look at this like I would be the one that's not shy in talking about any situations. So I'm not shy if there's a problem, or I'm not shy to talk about new suggestions, for example. So try and always think about how you can put a spin on anything that's negative. There's always going to be a positive somewhere. It could be vice versa. I'm really shy and I'm really quiet. However, some people might see that as a weakness. I see that as a positive because I speak when it's valid. I sit back and I listen more rather than talk more. So some people might see my shy and quietness as a weakness. I don't. I see that as a positive. So always think, because people will be like, oh my goodness, I hadn't thought about that. You think about your weaknesses and you think about how you can use that in your advantage. And that really stands out for sure. So make sure you do your research. Make sure you know what would be the hard-hitting questions. Make sure you know anything that you're unsure of, you've done the research. And when interview day comes, and I'm talking from experience, make sure you are early. There is nothing worse than turning up, dripping with sweat, with your bag and your hair crazy and your bag flying behind you. Make sure you're early. Even if you're half an hour early and you find a coffee shop and you just chill. Being late causes you so much stress and anxiety. And I think it's really important that we are calm when we go for the interviews. We're there a few minutes early. You don't have to be super early. 5 minutes early is acceptable, in my opinion. It shows that you're on time, you're prompt, you respect their time schedule that they've set for you. So make sure, you're on time, if not a few minutes early. Dress for the job you want, not the job you have. If you're going for a promotion and you want to be, seen as powerful or strong or confident, or, you're going somewhere trendy, make sure you dress appropriately. And again, this comes back to your research. This comes back to looking at who is the company that you're going to interview for. There's no point turning up at a company that's very traditional and you're wearing just a blouse and a pair of chinos or something. Make sure that if you need to dress as in a power suit, you get a power suit, even if you have to borrow one. If you're turning up in a fashion place, you might want to be a little bit more trendy with your colors, for example, and stuff like that. So just dress for the company, dress to impress. It goes without saying, I know, but just make sure you are looking your best, because if you're looking your best, you're going to feel your best. Another obvious one, turn off your phone, put it on do not disturb. You don't want any distractions. You don't want to have your bag on the floor and hearing it vibrate. You don't want to have your phone in your pocket thinking, Jesus Christ, is this my mom or my kids, or who's calling me? And it just is such a distraction in your brain that you then can't focus on what's going on. So it's massive. It's so simple, but it's even the vibration noise is enough to distract you. And it's enough to distract the interviewer as well. They're going to be thinking, well, hold on a minute. They can't even turn their phone off while they're here. They're vibrating all the time. So very, very simple one. Be confident. Believe you can work there. Believe that you deserve the job. Believe that you deserve to work there. This mindfulness, and I've covered this in many episodes, so you can always refer back to them. It's really powerful. And we covered it in the vision boards with Lisa Williams as well, about how to visualize what you want. So go in there with a vision that you are going to work there, a vision that you are going to nail this job. How is it going to be when you're walking into the office every day? You are going to feel great. It's the place for you. Keep visualizing this over and over and over again. It is so powerful. It's so impactful on your life. And honestly, it can be a total game changer for you. So think positive, think that this is the job for you, visualize it. And it's so powerful for you mentally in how you approach that interview. And one final thing to think about in terms of the interview is think about any questions you want to ask them. So they will ask you, do you have any questions for us? If you've done your homework, you'll know a lot about the company anyway, but think there might be stuff that comes up during the interview process where you think, oh, I'm going to remember to ask that at the end. So it could be about something they said. It could even be you ask questions throughout the interview. It's very impressive to interviewers if you ask questions, even if it's one super simple question. Make sure you come up with something. So do a bit of homework, maybe just have a list of questions, to think about in your mind. You just repeat them over and over while you're in the coffee shop or you're on the train. They will ask you. So make sure you have something, no matter how simple it is. Definitely think about that. Now, one final thing that I want to just touch on is you've done all of your research for the jobs. You've done all of your prep. You've done all of your CV, which looks amazing, all of your job roles, all of your experience, your work experience, your references, anything. I didn't cover that, but include some references. So all of that's done. You've got the interview. We've covered doing the interview. What happens next? Now, it is up to obviously the company as to what they decide to do. But my suggestion, again, is always about standing out from the crowd. Why don't you send them a thank you follow-up email or a thank you LinkedIn? Depends on how you've been connected. I'm assuming it will be email. So perhaps get home, find their email of the person that had arranged the interview and just send them a thank you. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciated it. It was great to meet Joe Blogs and whoever. I value their time. I know it's very precious. I really felt like the interview went great. I think that the company is incredible, would love the opportunity to work with you, and I will await your feedback. Many, many thanks once again for your time. Kind regards. It literally costs nothing, takes 5 minutes of your time. And how many other interviewees would send a follow-up email? Or how many people would just sit back and go, God, I wonder when I'm going to hear from that job. I wonder when they're going to call me. I wonder when they're going to send me an email. Be proactive. You honestly, this day and age, need to stand out from the crowd. You need to show initiative. So send them a thank you follow-up email. Make sure that you're memorable above everybody else. Now that is my top tips on how to prep for interviews and get the interviews, basically how to apply for jobs. I would like to close on one final thing, which I touched on a little bit, is just make sure when you're going through this whole process, and I talked about this a few weeks ago, make sure that your social media is great. Make sure that there are no surprises that any interviewers are going to find. 58% of employers will look at social media for the candidates and the staff. That's high. So if you have got, any surprises on there, any crazy pole dancing nights open to the public, maybe you need to consider how you're coming across. If you're bad-mouthing employers, you hate your current job, you hate your life, make sure you do a little bit of a social media audit. You want to nail these jobs. You want to get the job of your dreams at the company of your dreams. So do not let your social media let you down. Lock down your social media, put it on private, even while you're going through the interview process. Just private your Insta and your Facebook. Make them private. No one can see them. Even if you do that just while you're looking for these jobs, whatever it takes, do not let any social media be the reason that you are not hired for your dream job. Because if you believe it, you work hard, you can achieve it. So let me know. I would love to hear if you're looking for a new job and these tips were helpful. If you want any more guidance, definitely reach out. I've been through the interview process as an interviewee, as a job seeker, and also as an interviewer as well, hiring staff for my companies over the years. So I've had lots of experience on both sides of the fence, and I would love to hear from you if this has helped you. And also if you have any other tips, I will definitely share them out on social media with all of our listeners. So thank you for your time. I wish you the best of luck if you are looking for new jobs, if you're looking to make a change in your life. I believe in you, and I hope you can believe in yourself. Thank you. Until next week. Bye.